Hello everyone, I'm Cassandra.
And I'm Mom.
And this is Millennial and Mom, and welcome back to our channel for another recap of Little Women in Atlanta Season 6, Episode 4. I forgot what the show was called, but to be fair, it was a continuance, supposedly, of last week's episode.
The show is called Mismanagement.
It was called Misnamed because we left off last week because we didn't get a chance to do it because we had some things happen. But that's besides the point. We left off because Tanya basically came back to town and she wanted to get all the girls back together because she wanted to have a peaceful girl group because that's one of the things she really came back to Atlanta for. So they went to a shaman and that pretty much went downhill from there with Abira and Andrea mostly because it's never really Amanda. It's usually just Andrea.
No, I think when one of the twins pop off, both of the twins pop off.
Well, it was just mainly one of them. And then they left it off with to be continued, but they didn't even continue there. I was expecting something else to happen. Some resolution, maybe, but nope. We just picked back up with money. And I guess she wants to, work out her relationship with Moreland. So she needs to get her own place and not live with the beer and her kids no more.
Well, do you blame her? I mean, when you have your own place and you have to move back, because really she's supposed to move with Juicy, but that didn't work out. And then to go somewhere that someone has like young kids, she felt like she was in the way, and kind of she was. But Abira was nice and let her know, like, girl, you can stay here for as long as you want to.
Well, I got a question for you. If you were Money in Money's position, would you give Moreland another chance?
Ooh, that is a good question. Well, she wants to work it out, so she give him another chance. But I don't think so. There's been a lot of cheating scandals around Moreland for quite some time. So
Moreland in that brown jacket, I hope it's gone.
I hope so too, because she was not feeling that. But anyway, she has her own place, and she decided to invite over Andrea and Chris. Like a little housewarming, I guess, and just to talk to maybe like one of the twins separately, because everyone is still reeling over the party and what happened, stuff like that. And Money is the counselor this season, seems like, for right now.
So?
Yeah, for right now, because she came back to town, because she wants to have her friends around. She says they're sisters, and I want to get everything back to normal, because why do we need to argue? I mean, we're close. I mean, she didn't have that in Houston where she was, so she wants to get things back to normal. But when she was talking to Andrea, she's like, no, because you know what? Abira doesn't know when to quit, pretty much, and she's trying not to have the peace. But while Andrea and Money was talking, we learned that Andrea wants to be a model. Since Amanda's doing her own thing solo, she wants to do something else to set herself apart from her sister.
I just want to know, for real, why is she with her kids? That's what I think should be her number one priority. But I guess she wants to set herself up a little bit more to be with her kids. So hopefully she does. Eventually.
Yeah, and you know what? Chris isn't really for this modeling thing. He's kind of looking like, you want to model, but
Chris don't have anything to say, because what does Chris even do?
I don't know. I think it's mechanic or something, but that's besides the point. So now there's a quick scene with Minnie and her boyfriend, right? Or is it her fiance now? Because she has a ring, was a starter ring, so it's not really your fiance.
The first phase ring. I never heard of that before. And I hope no one tries it on me.
Well, apparently, Minnie's under the weather. She says she didn't have the C19, but she's under the weather because she seems like she's one of the people on the show who has mostly health problems right now. So she's going through something. So he's trying to fix her some tea, and he's with the tea bag and a coffee cup. He's just like dunking it in there, like nothing's happening. The water's still like clear. And so he brings it to her, and she tastes. She's like, wait a minute. This is still cold. Oh, it's supposed to be hot? She's like, yeah, it's supposed to be at least warm.
I mean, you don't know, you don't know.
That's true. I thought that was cute. But then we see Minnie's mom, Tammy, come in, and she's like, oh, girl, I hope you're not sick. I work in the hospital, because if you even sneeze, people look at you crazy. Isn't that the truth, though?
And this was pre-C19?
Yes, it was. Or just getting started, right? So anyways, her mom was trying to make her feel a little bad for moving out, because she's like, I would have made you hot tea, and I would have put a lemon and a cough drop in it, and put Vicks Vapor Rub on you and stuff like that. She's like,
moms would.
Yeah, so. But anyways, after that, we happen to see Abira. And Abira's at home. She's with her 3-year-old son. He's so cute. I think his name is Henry or something like that. They're waiting on the school bus for Phoebe. Now, Abira has 4 kids, and they're all average size except for Phoebe. And Phoebe's the one who looks like her the most, if you ask me. right? She's
No,
7.
that little girl looks like her.
That's what I said. She looks like her the most.
Oh, I thought you were talking about her oldest daughter.
No. So they're waiting outside for the school bus, and she's so happy to see her mom and her little brother, stuff like that. And Abira's thing is like, since they're new to town, they just came from Florida, they're back in Atlanta with her kids this time. She wants them to have a sense of home and a sense of like she'll always be there for them, and just make them all feel comfortable. So when they get in the house, it was kind of like the opposite. Now, Abira is still reeling from what's happening too because she doesn't feel support. Because that's why she moved back from Florida to Atlanta to be with the girls.
I mean, but my thing is with Abira, she wants the support, especially from the tiny twins for whatever reason. But if you don't really care for someone, just don't hang out with them. Like, why do you even want to be friends with them and you have all these problems with them? I mean, yeah, because they're little people too, and she wants to be connected with them. But I would just let that go if I was Abira and the twins.
Well, I think there's just a general misunderstanding, especially when it comes to the entertainment aspect. I think, again, they can't separate entertainment and the friend part. I think that's the issue.
And then with that issue, they don't need to be friends.
So then we see Abira and her oldest daughter, who's in the 11th grade. I can't think of her. Oh, Tabira. And they're in a coffee shop and they're talking. She's like, so how's things going with you? How's school going? She's like, have you made any friends? And Tabira, her daughter, is like, no, Mom, I haven't really made friends because, you don't want me to make any and hang out with my peers because you don't want me to get pregnant. And she's like, no, that's not what I want. I want you to hang out, but, just know the ins and outs because I don't want you to make the same mistakes. But then Tabira said, well, some guy did ask for my number, like, on God. Like, can I get your number on God? And she was like, how are they talking down here?
I thought everyone talked like that, to be honest. Who's around the Gen Z, almost millennial age. I thought they did. But, everyone has their different dialect.
Oh, is that the new thing that they say on God? That's the young thing?
It's not new, but it's been around.
I guess. Well, while her daughter is talking to her, Abira takes a moment to reflect. It's like, I kind of want you to hang out and have friends and whatever, but, don't let no dudes talk to you like that. They got to be more respectful. It turns out that Abira had Tabira when she was 17. She got pregnant at 16, had her at 17. So she's trying to explain, like, I'm trying to keep you from getting pregnant. I want you to hang out, but you don't have to share your body to be popular and stuff like that. So that's what she was trying to get at. And her daughter started getting teary, like, Mom, like, I know, like, I'm not trying to do that road. Because Abira's like, I want you to go to college or the Navy or something. Just don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah. Did you feel that part?
I did feel that part. When they started tearing up, I started tearing up too. Because you do. You don't want your kids. That's why you tell your kids, whether you did things that were pro or con, to let them know. So if you run a situation like that, you don't have to go that route to be popular or whatever the case may be. So that was the whole point of that conversation. So later on, we see Amanda. Now, Amanda is still upset because she doesn't feel like Minnie is promoting her, getting her gigs, jobs, stuff like that. She's like, you know what? Why am I taking all these vocal classes?
But the last thing I checked from when I watched the episodes, Minnie, no offense to her, she was kind of like a makeshift manager because Miss Juicy Baby was managing and she was like, I want to manage too. So I never really saw why they thought she was a good manager. Like, I don't know if she has like any credentials or anything behind her. I would have to look that up unless you guys know. Leave in the comments down below. But I would have never chose Minnie to be my manager. I would choose Miss Juicy Baby because she was in the radio. So I don't know why Amanda is like, I don't believe that she's not getting us gigs or she's not doing this and that because she don't know the ins and outs.
Well, I don't know what ins and outs she knows because Minnie did have a podcast with some people that was on Wild and Out. So maybe she learned something from them.
Anybody can make a podcast. We can make a podcast right now. But being on the radio, especially a national syndicated for the most part show, come on. A podcast or a radio show with Ricky Smiley. Who are you choosing?
So Amanda's in with her vocal coach now, right? Trying to get her thing together. And they start like, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.
I mean, she was trying. I commend her because she is trying to branch out and do other things. But, when he was asking her, like, well, did you practice? She's not even practicing like that. So now you can't be putting things on Minnie managing you. You have to put in that effort if you really want to step out from your sister and be just Amanda.
Don't do Amanda like that. Amanda says she practices for 10 minutes.
10 minutes? No.
Yeah, that's what the vocal coach was like, what? And she's like, I'm still eating some of the things that you said I couldn't eat because when I drink milk, I get a little phlegm.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. Well, anyways, he was like, well, who's your manager? And she told him who she was, and he's like, we're friends, but she's not getting me the gig. Same thing that she's been saying in confessionals, but she's saying it to someone new, right?
A stranger.
Yeah, and so he's like, well, you don't mix business with pleasure. So then he decides to set her up with a choreographer to, maybe like, get some dance moves together for when she does go out on a show, she could just be doing that, not just like stand in one place. So when we see Amanda later the next day, of course, at the choreographer, she invites her sister. And then we have Minnie and Money.
That's a problem too. Like, you want to branch away from your sister. Your sister wants to do everything that you do.
That's true, and I still think it's vice versa, But anyway, she said she invited Minnie because maybe it was going to get a jump start if she knew that someone else helped her out with this. So while they're doing the choreography, doing the moves, you know who did the best moves out of them all?
Who?
Money. I was like, this is Money's thing. Maybe she ought to consider it. So after they were done with the choreography, they sit down, they talk, and she's like, yeah, I'm so glad that, I can't think of his name, suggested I do this. She's like, oh. Minnie was like, oh, really? So what you trying to say? You don't want me to be your manager no more?
Pretty much.
And
she's trying to hint at it.
Well, she was trying to say that, you know what, if you're not going to help me succeed, maybe I do have to look somewhere else because, maybe this friendship thing and business isn't working for us. So later on after the choreography, we see Money go visit Juicy. Miss Juicy, baby. How was my vocals?
10 minutes worthy.
10 minutes? The shit.
Well, what did she go see her for?
Well, anyways, remember when Money came back, she said she wanted to get into music. So now she visited Juicy to see if she could work in promotion. And I'm like, well...
Promotion and doing music, those are two different things.
They are. And Juicy lets her know, well, you know what? She got a call from someone who wants to do promo with her. So why don't you get the girls and together and we could all do promo, make some money. Cool. That's what they're going to do.
But what does promo lead up to? That's what I want to get to the most.
The promo led up to, it turned out it was St. Patrick's Day at a bar. And it looked like maybe the bar wasn't as busy for C19. And no one had on anything at first. No one knew what was happening. And Juicy was like, you know what? I'll be right back. Let me go see, what they want us to do. Talk to the manager, right? So Juicy
You're being really nice with this.
So Juicy comes back out with the St. Patrick's Day, like barmaid, beer serving person. I don't know what you call that.
It's called a barmaid.
And then she has these other costumes. And Minnie, Money, a beer, and the twins look at that like, I know that's not no leprechaun St. Patrick's Day costume, is it?
That was trifling. Now that right there, someone should have looked into that to see what was really going on for St. Patrick's Day. Like, that's so wrong and offensive. Like, maybe there might be some little people who do want to do it for some money or whatever. That's cool. That's their business. But you got to ask first. Not just invite people and be like, oh, well, it's a gig and you here, so we can't cancel.
Well, that's what all the other ladies said. They was like, that's not what we do because listen, we were called leprechauns and other names we were growing up being bullied. So this is on you, girl. We're here to support you, so you do your thing. She's like, it's only 15 minutes. They're like, we don't even care. So after 15 minutes, Juicy comes back and she got a nice little stack of change. They're like, that's nice, but all money isn't good money.
That's true.
Getting to the last scene, we have Abira. She's at her daughter's school, Tabira, to talk to boys and girls about bullying and empowering. So,
Trying to empower them.
Yeah, so they don't have to make, bad choices or wrong choices. Just see different ways to do things.
See, okay, I'm cool with her doing the empowering thing because everyone needs to be empowered, especially if you come from a different situation or different certain type of lifestyle because, kids like to be a part of that wild side, that danger zone. But the bullying part, I think she needs to do a little bit more self-growth with the bullying because to me, in my opinion only, I still think she's a bully.
Well, you know what? Actually, early in the episode we didn't touch on, her and Money had that conversation. They even had the conversation last week too.
That she's a bully?
That she has anger issues she needs to work through and that, she's always taught to be tough. So that's something that a lot of the women don't know about her. You know, that she had to always fight for something just the way that she grew up. So that's part of her issue.
It's kind of hard for the women, especially the tiny twins, to be receptive to that if you just been on their head since pretty much day 2.
Yeah, so, but when she walked into the group, the after school program, that looked like it was mainly inner city kids, a few of them had this look on her face because I guess they didn't realize she was a little person. And I don't know if that made her daughter uncomfortable, but she was kind of looking around the room, but she looked proud, like, this is my mom. So, you know, once she started speaking, the kids were more receptive to her, to the things that she was saying, because a few of them even asked questions of her, like, you know, have you been depressed growing up and things like that? And she explained how, you know, she was depressed, you know, or even like bullied or even felt down about herself from like 7th to 10th grade, how, you know, she would be put in trash cans and how she was put on top of a vending machine, stuff like that, and how she always had to fight and to be strong and know who she was, because she wasn't the average girl. She didn't have the average body. And she did say, you know, don't let my 3'11" fool you, or however tall she is.
Right, she will throw a glass at you.
Stop it. That she isn't the kids. But I thought that was nice, and I think, you know, a few of them, the message got to them because you could see it in her face. Other kids, I'm not so sure. But as long as you get to one, that's true, right? If you get the message to one person, you've made enough of an impact.
Yeah.
So in the final scene, we have the tiny twins, Andrea and Amanda. They're donating
canned goods and stuff.
Yeah.
For the C19 that we see gonna start ramping up a little bit more.
So they all meet at a church. It's the twins, it's Juicy, it's
Most of the
Vera.
girls.
Everybody except for Minnie, because they call Minnie, she's still not feeling good. You know what I'm saying? And she doesn't want to be out because she doesn't know how things are gonna progress, stuff like that, which I understand. You know,
I think most people were like that at the time.
And so, you know, they donate to their church, and I thought that was really nice. And you know what? That was the end of this episode, but it looks like next week, or even the scene coming up, is when we're going to learn about Minnie's passing.
Yeah, that's very untimely, kind of sad. I kind of don't want to see the episode, but you know what? We're just going to keep watching the episode and revealing it, and just hope that even though with the passing, the girls do eventually come together, because they really do need to come together, because they're really not even arguing about anything. They're arguing about things that they can literally
Superficial things, really.
get over, and it's not really about anything. So we'll just have to see as the episodes go along.
I think is going to definitely change the dynamic with her passing. I think that a lot of the things that the twins and Abira arguing about, is going to be dropped and come together, like, you know, what we were doing wasn't really worth it. So I think we're going to see that upcoming.
So let us know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching and sticking with us, even though we missed last week. But we'll promise we're not going to skip any more. So make sure you also like this video. Also share this video to other people who watch Little Women in Atlanta, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet.
Thank you all again for watching. And as always, live simply, be grateful.